Hello, my name is Kirioth, and yesterday we did the Warhammer 40k Neglect Olympics, where we awarded bronze, silver and gold to the three factions, the three armies that Games Workshop has paid the least attention to over the course of the last 9 years. Ended up being the number, very specifically 9 years, because of those poor Grey Knights who have been in a desert, a parched environment where they've got nothing but Grandmaster Voldus in terms of faction-specific releases since 2011, which is kind of rough. The thing is, I mean, if you haven't watched that video, do go and watch it now. Pause this, go watch it, and then come back to this, or watch it at the end of this. That's also fine. Then you can get the justification for why these things were placed in certain orders. Okay, I'll remember to breathe this time. So, one of the things that came up quite often yesterday, having put that video out, was there was an expectation for who would make the podium. A lot of you guessed Tyranids, and Tyranids were there. A lot of you guessed Imperial Guard and the Astra Militarum, whatever. They were also there. Those are two armies that have had no significant action since 2014, and in fact, in the case of Tyranids, no action since 2014. Quite a long time to go to wait for any sort of new model at all. But one army that came up repeatedly, that was not on the podium, but I would argue deserves a mention, was the Eldar. The thing is, the Eldar don't deserve a mention solo. They also need to be accompanied by another army that has a similar issue to them, which is the age of their basic, bog-standard, everyday troops choices. Because, now, don't worry, I'm not going to throw Barry again. This is Barry. You all know Barry at this point, except for a number of people over the last couple of videos who have been like, what the hell are you talking about? Barry is an orc. He's just a normal, standard orc boy. Barry he's been with me, Barry. Stroke of the head. Jesus. I've never noticed how utterly, like, horrendous the mould lines are on Barry before. That is, like, there's one there that I could literally just pick off. Bad. Anyway, Barry has been with me for quite some time because Barry is one of many unpainted orcs that I had in 3rd edition when I started playing 40k. I had quite a number of orcs. Having complained in the previous video about a tide of grey orcs storming the board, I realised, oh wait, that was me, because I couldn't be asked to paint them, and I wouldn't have done a good job anyway, so why bother, right? Terrible attitude, don't think like that. Barry, or at least the kit as a whole, 21 years old, Barry. Barry is older than like 5%, I think it shakes out as, of people watching this channel. And it's the same for the Guardians. Those kits, the Ork Boyz and the Eldar Guardian Squad, were released in 1999. They are pre-2000s. They are old as hell at this point. That's why they may not have made the podium, but that's why there needs to be a special mention made, because these are kits that are available right now, today. You can go to Games Workshop and you can pick up a box of Ork Boyz, and it is the same kit that I bought 16, 50, 70, however long ago it was, way back, before the internet. God, it's so bad. It's so depressing thinking about how long ago that was. It's the same guy. You'll be getting Barry. You can have a Barry of your own because they've not changed anything about it since 1999. And it's the same with the Guardian Squad. Now, that is obviously it's alright, Barry. There you go. Put him down nice. Unchucked him. That is crazy. That is way too long. That is you can't have the basic troops for an army be 21 years old. You cannot have the kit be that old. When you look at the advancements made in terms of the sculpt, in terms of just the overall quality of design has just gone way up. The fact that these are being sold next to models that were literally designed a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, whatever, that presents a very weird and almost incomprehensible attitude towards these armies. It's like, on the one hand, orcs have a metric shed load of vehicles. You want vehicles, you want to go full Mad Max, we have got you covered. You've got so many vehicles to choose from. But I mean, your lads who are walking across the board, we're not going to touch them. They're only 20 years old after all. Why would we bother? It's so mad. It's so bad. And it's the similar thing with Eldar. I mean, Eldar have not had a huge number of releases over the last few years, in fairness. I mean, outside of the Howling Banshees and Jane'Zar, you've had Wind Riders, you've had a couple of Skyrunners and Autark, you've had Eldrad Ulthran, you've had a Spirit Seer, and then you have to go back to 2013, and that's when you've got your Wraith Knight, your Wraith Guard, Wraith Blades, and an Ignite Spear, actually. So, yeah, he's not that old. But it's the fact that the basic troops are old enough to drink in the US it's not a good look. It's just not a good look. And the thing is, in a way, I can kind of understand why they've not been updated, but I also don't like that they've not been updated. The Guardian Squad. A couple of people said in the comments yesterday when Eldar came up that the Guardian Squad is kind of ahead of its time when it came out in terms of the way it looks. Not wrong. Not wrong. I mean, for a bit of context there, yes, the Guardian Squad is old. It is undeniably old. It's 21 years old, so yes, it's old. But the Guardian Squad came out a full year before the Swooping Hawks. Now, bear that in mind. Swooping Hawks, no, don't look good. They do not look good. They have aged terribly. That's one of the Aspect Warrior like kits that has just it has not lasted the distance at all. It does not look great in any way, pretty much now. It's one of the few kits when I did the Eldar range review where I was like, no, no, I don't like this. The Guardian Squad came out before them, like actually before them. They kind of are at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to a redesign because, yeah, they are ancient, but they don't look anywhere near as old as they actually are. They are very old. The detail is not as crisp as it could be. They have the same issue as a lot of models from around that era, and I'm including Barry in this. Sorry, Barry, but look, I know it's kind of iconic, but every orc sort of looks like they're trying to take a shit, and it's not a great look. It's an issue that Space Marines had as well, don't get me wrong, but the detail isn't terrible. It could just do with being a bit crisper. The stances could do with being a bit more interesting. The scaling could be slightly better. But they don't look awful. It's the same with your Ork Boyz. I mean, yeah, Barry is old as anything, and his mould lines are obscene. It's rough. But it's not terrible. It's not awful. It's not. There have been models released since these kits that have looked way worse, that have lasted even less time in terms of just desirability, in terms of how well they've aged. But it's not a good look is the main thing. It's not a good look. Having something that is that old being sold alongside things that are brand new gives such a weird impression. It gives such a bizarre kind of... I mean, we like your faction enough to give you new stuff, but we're not going to touch the old stuff because who cares? It's such a weird dynamic that doesn't make a huge amount of sense. You would think that if you want to keep an army up to date, you start with the basics. You start with the stuff that everyone needs. If you're playing Orcs, you're probably going to want some boys. If you're playing Eldar, unless you're just doing like a Wraith army, you might want to pick up a Guardian Squad or two, maybe. And yet, they are 20 years old. And it blows me away that can even be a thing. Yeah, there are some armies that have got like some pretty old kits in there. I mean, Imperial Guard, in fairness, the Catachan are, I believe, 1999 as well. Yeah, they are. Cadians are 2003. So, whilst they're old, they're still not quite at the same level. They definitely deserve a mention, the Eldar, in terms of neglect, because the core troops are way ancient. They've got some absurdly old models still being sold that could really do with some sort of update. I mean, the thing is, I would hope that Games Workshop do update a lot of this stuff at some point. I mean, your Wraith Lords, not your Wraith Lords, your Phoenix Lords are pretty damn old at this point. 1994 for the vast majority of them, which is, I mean, that's crazy. And I say the vast majority. We're talking all of them. except for Jane Zar, I think. Mind you, is Illic Nightspear a Phoenix Lord? I don't know. I'm not massively up on my Eldar lore. Words are very difficult. I'm not 100% up on my Eldar lore, but it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right having those basic troops be so old. So old. I was 13. I was 13 when... No, technically I was 12 when those kits came out. That is... And they're still around today. No wonder some people get back into this hobby and they're like, wait, you're still selling that? What? Who can blame them? Who can blame them? Oh, wow. So yeah, they deserve a special mention. Not podium material, not quite, because it's not been quite that bad, but they've got some veterans. They've got some real veterans. The true ancients are not the ones holding banners for the Primaris. They're the Ork Boyz. They're the Eldar Guardians. Those are the true ancients. They've been in service for so long. Maybe give them a rest. Give them a rest. Give them an update. Give them something new, something fresh, instead of, well, a literal 2-decade-old kit as your basic troops. Anyway, just thought we'd do a little follow-up to the the Neglect Olympics yesterday. I know a lot of you are surprised that Eldar weren't on there. I hope you understand the reasoning as to why they weren't, but also there was no way I was just going to let that slide. I mean, what? What the hell? Come on, GW. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's have new versions of those two at the very least. Lay off on the new stuff just for a moment and give us some redesigned orcs that don't look like they've got some sort of severe issue with the curvature of their spine. Come on. Anyway, how many Ork Boyz do you own? How many Guardian squads have you bought in the last year? And when you bought them, did you realise how old they are, or did you just accept it? Was it a case of, I know that this is absurd, but I need them in my life anyway? Let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon. It'd be lovely. Flubbed at the end, garbage. It would be lovely if you did subscribe. As I've said a couple of times before, I don't know that it does a huge amount anymore, but it makes the little number go up, which is pleasing to me. So do that if you would like. Of course, it's completely up to you. It's not compulsory. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you would like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.